Hello, ladies, gentlemen, and persons in between. My name is Tim Snowborn, and today I'd like to respond to something Andy Richter said that relates to what I said last week about how liberals and conservatives need to learn to communicate and listen to each other. Welcome to another episode of Serious Issues. Yeah, I was going to do an episode, one of those getting to know you things, where I show you guys all the books that I have and what I've been reading lately. But the day before I posted last week's episode, Andy Richter, that Andy Richter, the one from Conan O'Brien, he got on Twitter and posted a short thread that I think is related to what I said last week. I'm aware, by the way, that Richter was not at all speaking to me. He has no idea who I am, and he didn't see my video. It wasn't up yet. It started with him saying that despite the fact that polls show Trump voters support the travel ban between predominantly Muslim countries, they support the ridiculous wall that he wants to build, and they support mass deportations of undocumented immigrants, despite that, we're not supposed to call them racist because it hurts their feels, and we're supposed to believe that they're just economically nervous. That sort of seems to contradict what I said last week, because I said last week that a lot of them are just economically nervous and not all of them are racist, and I stand by that. I didn't say last week that racism had nothing to do with Trump's victory. It almost certainly does. I haven't seen these polls that Richter talked about showing that Trump supporters support the travel ban and the wall and deporting illegal immigrants. I believe him. I'm not saying that I don't believe him, I do. I don't know what portion of Trump supporters are genuinely racist and which ones are not, and they're just concerned about the economy. I would be inclined to agree that probably more racist and less economically concerned. Even whether it's 60% racist, 40% economically concerned, or 90% racist and 10% economically concerned. However big or small the portion of economically concerned Trump voters there is, it is still unfair to generalize and say that all of them are racist, sexist, ignorant, religious zealots, and so forth. And I stand by my statement from last week where I said that it's still important for us to communicate with them and listen to them. And again, this door swings both ways. It's important for both sides to listen and communicate with each other. It's important for us to try to understand each other and seek common ground. It's important for us to try to reason with them to the degree that they can be reasoned with. Even the people who support the travel ban and the wall and deporting illegal immigrants, again, to the degree that we can, we should try to understand their concerns and try to reason with them and show them why they're wrong. I stand by my statement that hating each other and being angry all the time is really counterproductive. Sorry, if you hear a meowing in the background, that's Phaedrus. I've locked him out of the room for the duration of the video recording. Gypsy's right here. Richter goes on to ask, rhetorically I assume, that should he tell the women and people of color and the LGBT community to shut up? Because we don't want to upset these snowflake Trump voters who might vote against Trump in the next election. And so how do I respond to that? What would I say to those groups? Well, I wouldn't tell them to shut up. They're right to be very concerned about Trump's words and his policies and everything about him. It's tempting to tell them to dial it back a bit, but I wouldn't even feel comfortable saying that. Like I said, they're okay, I'm gonna have to let him in here. Okay, just had to go out there and chase Phaedrus into the room because he wouldn't shut up for 5 minutes. Yeah, where was I? I wouldn't tell them to shut up because they're right to be concerned about Trump. I wouldn't even tell them to dial it back a bit. I would say, at best, that there are more constructive ways to use their anger, maybe. On one hand, there's the importance of listening to and understanding each other and having a dialogue, and on the other hand, there's the absolutely justified fear and anger over Trump's words and policies. and I'm not really sure how to balance these two. So I guess that's what I'm going to ask you in the comment section. If you agree that it's important for us to listen to each other and have a dialogue and try to understand each other and seek common ground, how do we balance that with, again, the absolutely justified anger and fear about Trump and his supporters? Sorry, memory card filled up, had to delete some stuff. So as I was saying, criticism of Trump alienates his supporters. But I don't think it's realistic to ask the oppressed groups that Richter mentioned to stop criticizing Trump. They absolutely should. But how to balance that with the need to communicate? I mean, I want to say that it could be more civil in their criticism, less hateful and caustic, but their anger is understandable. So I don't really feel like I can ask them to do that. We need to reach out to them, however much we disagree with them. They need to reach out to us too, don't get me wrong. Again, door swings both ways. We need to make an effort to be the bigger man. I know that's hard. I'm not saying that you shouldn't feel angry or upset about Trump's victory and what he says and what he does. You absolutely should feel angry. But there has to be something better to do with that anger than slander his supporters. However ignorant, racist, sexist, etc. they may be. Again, not all of them. We can't. It's just as wrong to stereotype all Trump supporters as sexist, racist, ignorant, etc., as it is to stereotype any racial or religious minority. Liberals pride themselves on their ability to empathize with groups. I'm not saying oppressed groups. Well, I mean, yeah, they empathize with oppressed groups, but that empathy needs to extend to these conservative, that empathy needs to extend to these Trump voters. We need to be able to put ourselves in their shoes and see the world from their perspective, however horrific that may seem to us. Like I said, maybe you tell me, because maybe follow up on this another time. I want to get to that book thing next. Let me know in the comment section, what do you think? What do you think? How do we balance the need to listen and communicate and understand each other with the well-justified anger toward Trump and his supporters? Let me know what you think. Thank you very much for joining me for this video. I hope you liked it. If you did, please hit that like button and share and subscribe and comment, of course. And I will see you next time on Serious Issues.